Hi, this is the lecture video on week number 6, some information that I wanted to explain. So, when you download this lesson plan, let's see, this is what you get. You also want to have something, I think I shared with you the 6 code. So you can download this here, and I'll just have it on the side. But you can kind of utilize this code to practice. But maybe I'll just get rid of this one. But anyway, so it's kind of explained in the iBook, but I just wanted to point out a couple of things. Working with a file, it's best, again, to use the standalone program so that you can navigate to a particular location in your system and not have to worry about where the file is located. But in order to read a file, you need to open it first, and then after you read the file, you also need to close, and you can specify the name of the file, or if you don't specify the file itself, and if you just say close, it'll refer back to the last time it was referenced. You can open a file using the open function. You can read a file, read the entire file if you just use a read parentheses. If you want to read only one line, you can do a read line parentheses. So you can begin the program line by saying F, which is the file is equal to open, and reserved word, and you specify the name of the file. And let me see if I can bring up the file that we were working on. So here's an example of the program assignment that I asked you to do, but you can just say file is equal to open, and it's going to open the file that's under inside of this quotation mark, and we're opening to write. You can open a file to read or write, and if you're going to read it, just say R. And you do have to declare what it is that you're going to do when you actually open the file, right? And then if you want to print, you can do that too. But the reason why I asked you to, in the assignment demo, to create a file, test1.txt, in the same location is because when you refer to a file to open, how does this know where this file is, right? It assumes that this file is in the same location as your project. Okay, so let me bring up that folder. So as you can see, this is the folder in my iMac. I created in here Python project 3, right? And then here's the test1.txt file that I created and ran this program. So when you refer to a file without any path information, it is simply going to assume that a file is inside of this folder. If this file is located elsewhere, then you have to provide a path. And that's a little bit tricky because if you are using a Windows, then use this two slanted lines. If you're using a Mac, use the other way. So this here and this double, and we usually do only one line, but we use double lines in reading, referencing this from the program. So this one says, open the file that is in the directory, and you can say wherever you want it to, right? And this is a Windows folder in my files folder, and there's a welcome text, and I'm going to read it. But if this was a Mac OS, then you would do it the other way, right? Of course, one of the things that I want to mention to you is You don't want to write a file right at the root directory in C, because a lot of times you may need a special permission to access, particularly writing into that folder. So be careful when you do that, all right? And you can append to a file when you want to access it by letter A. You can use a W for writing, but make sure that you always close the file after you do whatever you wanted to do. I also mentioned that in the lab demo, if you don't close, in lab exercise like this may not be a big issue, but in real world example, if you don't close, then that file is still open, right? And then other users or you yourself could be writing into the location where the file is still open, and that's not what you want it to happen, right? So that's something that you want to be careful. So there are a few things you can do, and I ask you to use some of these codes and try to actually put the file test1 at some other location and see how it works out, right? So whether you are using a Windows or a Mac or whatever, give that a try and see if you can do that. So this is a quick video on the file system. Hope that's helpful. So this will be the end of it. All right, take care.